and welcome to Paper Transport's What Drives You Driver Edition podcast, first episode. My name is Cory Helmley. I am the Recruiting and Accelerate Operations Manager. Today I have a special guest, maybe just a guest probably. Hey, yeah. I have with me Lee Paulson.
I wouldn't say too many people say special, but yeah, thank you, Cory. I appreciate it.
Yeah, hey, the first thing, we're going to start this off with every driver we bring on. So kind of, Lee, if you want to just tell us your story, kind of how you got into trucking in general, how you became a professional driver, what brought you to PTI, and kind of what drives you, what motivates you as a person.
No, sure. When I was young, I started my career in retail sales, and then that eventually went into route sales with Kraft Pizza, and did 10 years of that, and another 5 in retail. And I had a great job. It's one of those situations, another company bought us out. Well, they, want to cut the price, so they basically bought us out. And at that time, that was a 24/7 job. You never got away from it. And I always liked driving, and I got burnt out from doing that. So I wanted a different career, even though I didn't tell my wife what I was going to do, because there's no way. She's great. She's awesome. Without her, I can't do what I do. Put the hours in that it needs to, make what you want to make out of this. But I went into trucking. Kind of said, hey, I signed up and this, and I got had my CDL with Kraft, and then went into Schneider with over the road and that. Or as I was always home daily, so she didn't like that idea. But to get more experience and get into the tractor trailers and that, I went with Schneider and that, and never looked back. What brought me to PTI is I was looking to get home more through a week, because you're out there 2 or 3 weeks at a time, and you're kind of away from the family. And my wife kind of got sick and that, for health reasons, and so I had to find something more that's at least get me home. And I just stumbled on PTI. I applied here, and Connie was great. She called me the next day, did an interview, and I'm like, book it, let's go. She said we had this intermodal opportunity. She thought I could get home. It's back and forth to Chicago. Probably get home once or twice during the week. I'm like, sweet. Well, it turned out I could be home every day. Just how I run things and operate, I made it work. So next thing, one thing came after another. So never looked back.
Can you talk a little bit? So I know you started in intermodal. When I started here, actually, I was a driver manager, and I filled in, and I was intermodal DM once in a while. So I would talk to you on the phone once in a while. It's kind of funny. That was almost 7.5 years ago when I was talking to you. But can you kind of talk along your progression with PTI, right? So you started with intermodal. Can you just talk a little bit about all the jobs you've had with us, what you kind of like the best, and kind of how you got into being an instructor and what you like about that?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I got into the intermodal, and I got my feet wet there, and that's a whole different beast, but I enjoyed it. It was a challenge, and not everyone wanted that challenge, but that's what drives me. I like challenges. I like doing what a lot of people won't do, and do it really good. And, that kind of drives me, besides, making money in that. So I always like challenges. And nice thing about PTI is their flexibility, when you do get burnt out from something, because after a while, everything gets old, right? And there's so much opportunity and stuff that you can do with paper, because they got their hands in a lot of different stuff. You can kind of fold around, put the word in, hey, kind of looking for a change. I remember approaching you and like, hey, Cory, when something opens up, let me know, and, next thing came next. So then I went to short haul.
I have one question though with intermodal. What was your least favorite rail yard to go to?
Oh, God, they're all terrible. We used to do this Union Pacific one, and that was an easy yard, but how they got it set up, they had the yard in between the train tracks, and these train tracks were always live, and the out gate was on this train track that they always used, and when the train came in, it would always refuel, but it would unhook and it would block you in for 3-4 hours for that train to move. And you know, I can be frustrating. And when the train moves, you got all these guys, you got 100 guys trying to get out, cram in 3 gates. And then if your chassis wasn't no good, well, then it would make that guy drop the chassis right there, and then that whole lane would be blocked. So the suckers that were in that lane could sit there for another hour, hour and a half before that lane opens up. You know, yeah, that was a nightmare.
Especially when you're trying to get home, running out of hours.
You run out of hours, or appointment times, all that. So yeah.
I did one ride along when we went to. I was with an intermodal driver, and we had to stage a trailer actually at Romar. Remember that?
I've been there many times.
I wasn't driving, and I remember being so anxious because it was the tightest space I've ever seen. And maybe we'll have to edit this part out, but we actually had to hook onto another company's trailer and move it over the line so that we could back into the spot that we were given. It was so stressful. Like, I was really worried. I'm like, we're not going to make it home. Like, just going in that lot and parking a trailer and taking another one out. I think we were there almost an hour and 40 minutes.
Oh, easily. And then the thing with the rail yards, at least back when I did, those things, you better have your head on the swivel, because you got moving parts all over, and no one really, cared, and everyone was in a hurry. And, if you wasn't watching yourself, you could end up in a bad situation. And God forbid you never use the restrooms down in the moto. That you don't touch it.
Fair enough. All right, I sidetracked you. So then you kind of approached me, asked for something with short haul.
Short haul. So I did short haul for a while, and then this opportunity, there too. I kind of got bored with it a little bit. I was just looking for another challenge, and then I know a buddy of mine had this route going from leaving at midnight, and I like to drive overnight. You can rock it and really make some good time and make good money doing it. And it was just going from Green Bay to Minnesota, doing a live load and reload and getting back in time. A lot of people, again, you got to be a hard runner to make it work. A lot of times when I came back, almost every day, I had maybe a half hour, 35 minutes, 10 minutes. Sometimes I ended up short just outside of Green Bay, but no big deal. I just parked the night, wife came out, had lunch, whatever. And it was all good. Sleeping in a truck once a night, it's not too bad. Helps the marriage out a little bit.
Gives her a break from
yeah, exactly.
That's fair.
I slept good in my truck, so I didn't mind it. I had a good mattress, so I slept like a baby.
All right. How did that, I guess, I get anxiety just thinking about the clock running out.
Yeah.
How do you handle that, knowing your clock is going to be very tight as you're driving home, still maintaining, to be safe?
Well, you only can go so fast with our company trucks, and it is what it is, when the clock is starting to run out, you try to push it, but you already know a couple hours ahead that you're not going to have enough time to get home, so you just kind of prepare for it a little bit, long as I was always okay, as long as I was happy with what I got accomplished throughout the day and burnt my 11-hour, which I always called my money line. As long as I maximized that, I was all good. I was good with it. Not a big deal. It's trucking. It's not going to go perfect for you. You're going to have those days. You're going to come up short sometimes. You got to learn to deal with it. It's not going to be, punching a clock and going home all the time. So it is what it is. Some guys handle it, some don't. So.
All right. So then I remember you did that run. And then did you come back to short haul, or did you go right to the?
Yeah, I went back to short haul, and then from there, local popped up, and I was kind of I did Chicago all my life. Besides when I was Schneider, I did the whole country there. But I was just looking for, again, another change of pace. Opportunity came along, and I took it. It was a floating position because, again, a floater, you'd be able to cover different accounts that we have, and not just one account, where you you get to see a little bit of everything that we have. And again, that's not for everyone, but for me, I like it. It's a change of pace. So.
And then that brought you in about 7 months ago or so. We brought you in we asked you
to
come in as an instructor for us.
Yep.
what made you decide to kind of do that decision, and what are the challenges that comes along with training drivers right out of school, and
Sure.
what's the rewarding part?
Well, I was training since back my days from Schneider, so I was training there as soon as I applied here. Dave at the time was the head of that department, and he approached me on it. So I pretty much started as a trainer right from the get-go. It's something I enjoy. This industry has been so good to me. It's been a blessing. I love what I do, and you know, it just I believe you got to extend the olive garden or branch, whatever, and you got to help these young guys out if they want to be helped. You know, I think that's important to keep the company growing, keep it going. It's something I enjoy. Some of my best friends are trainees I trained. To this day, one of my first trainees back from Schneider still calls me from this day. You know, back then it was more trucker advice. What would you do? How do you do this? Then it just rolled into more of a friendship, you know, and then shooting the shit about different stories on the road. You know what I mean? So.
All right, we're going to segue right into that, right? Different stories on the road. One of my favorite things to do when I talk to all our professional drivers, right, is like, what is one of the best stories you have? What's one of the craziest things you've seen on the road or been a part of?
Well, I have two stories. The first one with this company, with the intermodal, and like I said, you see a lot of stuff down there that it's crazy. I seen this. They had all these containers on the chassis, and this yard dog that works the yard whipped around, knocked his container over, and so it flipped down. He made, you can see he was on a CB. It was like a pack of rats. All of a sudden, boom! Their supervisors, everything is there. The big crane came over, tipped that trailer back up. The yard dog backed into it, took it down the road, parked it in the in the road, so it wasn't sitting out there like nothing ever happened, and boom, they're all gone. So whoever it was, the poor sucker that had to come and pick up that trailer, I wouldn't want to open those doors because it wouldn't have been pretty. So you see a lot of that stuff. And the craziest story was I was coming back, I think, out of Iowa, and I wanted to go. I was headed to Minneapolis for a bunch of pallets and that. So I was following up the Mississippi. Well, there's a lot of small towns, and I enjoyed the ride because you're, scenic, and the Mississippi's there. And as I was making my way through this one small town, you're down to like 30 miles an hour, and all of a sudden I'm looking about, 30 feet ahead of me, and then about 20 feet, and this object's falling out of the sky, right? And this is back in the day when the cell phones just came out, so there's no technology of taking the pictures of that. So all of a sudden it falls in front of me about 10 feet. I stop and I'm just looking at it. I'm like, what the hell? It's a freaking, like a 14-inch, 15-inch freaking fish. A fish falling out of the sky. Oh my God. I'm like, my wife is going to think I'm on drugs or something. Like, you're not going to believe this. Then I remember I just passed the eagle preservation, and I remember watching a lot of videos on nature and that, and that's how they kill their prey. They scoop it up, fly up, and then they drop it to kill it, and then come back and scoop it. But at first, when you first seen it, you're like,
I'm not gonna lie, I thought you were kind of just BSing, make up a story about a flying fish, and it was gonna get real weird. But I learned something new.
Yeah. I mean, what was it? A couple of years ago, that turtle fell in that girl's windshield in 41 here. Same thing. They just pick up their prey and drop it, and it just happened to, drop it on the highway I was traveling on. Could you imagine it hit the truck and dented it and get that phone call? Yeah, you're not going to believe this. I didn't hit a deer. I didn't hit a bear. I hit a fish.
Fish got dropped on me, and then I was chased by an eagle for 20 miles. That's awesome.
It's a fish back, right?
Yeah.
So that's my fishing story.
Yeah, you should have got off the road. Well, there was no cell phones, like you said, but pulled off the road, got a little picture with it. Yeah, that'd have been good.
Yeah, no, those cell phones are just enough to call out. The big phones were still there where you had to plug them in. So it was just at that technology time where, man, no one's gonna believe this. I don't even want to tell it because no one believes it. But it's true.
That's awesome. All right, so we're on topic, craziest things, whatever. But you've done a couple different things for us all over the area. You got to rank like, this is the best spot to go get for breakfast. This is the best spot for lunch. What do you got?
Yeah. Well, I'm not much of a breakfast eater, but like when I was on the road, one of my favorite spots I used to, do a lot of the East Coast, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, you don't want to go to New York. US 30, I wasn't allowed to take the toll road, so I did a lot of US 30. And I always like stopping in Beaver Dam. There's a Flying J. And I don't know what the bar is called now, but there used to be a bar. If it's still there, it's been a while, that I've been off. But they had excellent food there, pizzas, all that. Watch the games, So I always liked staying there. But back there too, back in the day when I started trucking, there's still a lot of mom and pop truck stops. So any of those little diners were excellent. I know that's a thing of the past now. They're pretty much all closed up, but you got the Pine Cone down in Johnsonville. That's pretty good. You ever eat there? But those kind of restaurants, you try to get yourself into. But other than that, you drive a semi, you just can't drive where you want. Right. Very limited selection. So,
all right. You're stopping or you're driving along. Got to use the restroom. What are the places you would stop to use the restroom? Yeah. What are your best, you feel comfortable, safe? Yeah,
I try to find the newest truck stop possible. That's not been worn out, and they're really nice. Nowadays, any Quick Trips, they take care of their stuff. You walk in, it's always clean. The worst ones are like the old TAs, even some of the Petros. They just let them go to hell. You need a tetanus shot the time you walk out. So it's like, no, thank you.
Quick Trip, if you're listening, that's a free plug. So feel free to sponsor us. And if you're not from Wisconsin, check out Quick Trips when you come here.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Same subject. I know we're talking about restrooms probably too long already.
Yeah.
But what are some restrooms that you will not use ever again? Like, what's just nightmare? Doesn't matter how bad you have to go. Get back on the highway and I'll have to go to the next one.
Well, like I said, anything in the rail yards, you don't want to touch with a 10-foot pole. You don't even want to open that door because you'll be shocked. A couple of the worst ones, there's a TA on the border of Wisconsin crossing over. Just opening your door, you'll know why you want to close that door and get out, because you thought Kakana smells. Oh my God. It's pretty awful. So
fair enough. All right. So you're driving, you got a long day ahead. What do you put on the radio? Do you put anything on? Do you go in silence? Do you listen to the radio, sports, podcasts?
Yeah, I like it.
Choice?
I like a little bit of everything. It goes in moods. It'll be a hard rock for a while. I'll be into rock and roll and sometimes the hard stuff. Then I'll have a stretch where I go country, and then I'll listen to talk radio, and then I try to get out of that, especially politics. It just takes you down the wrong tube.
We won't touch that on this podcast.
No. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. It's just better off to stay away from that. So you try different things like that. Just talk radio, a lot of sports radio. I'm a big sports fan. Go Packers. So I listen to a lot of that kind of stuff, when I want something different. So it's a little mixture of everything. And then having trainees, I kind of read the trainee, and a lot of times they won't answer you. So I always like, what's your favorite artist? And then that kind of show me or tell me what kind of music he likes. And I'm able to listen to anything, I even had a trainee back in the days from Morocco, and we're listening to music. I have no idea what they were saying. So, but hey, if it made them drive better, that was the name of the game.
Relaxes them probably, right?
Yeah, exactly. Make them feel comfortable,
Okay. All right, same subject then. You get to pick out like a walk-up music, right? Like there's, for some reason, let's just picture this scenario. There's a crowd around you.
Yeah.
You pull up on your truck. You're having a great day. You hop out and music plays as you walk towards the crowd, right? What is it? What's the song?
Yeah, well, if it was on the road, it'd be, Turn the Page by Metallica, but if it's coming back home, yeah, anything AC/DC would do it, so.
All right, classic rock, eh?
Yeah, classic rock, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, exactly. So.
All right. I'm thinking like Hell's Bells for you.
Hell's Bells would be excellent, yeah.
Yeah, I think I could hear the bells coming. Yep. All right.
Yeah, especially we had a good week in that, so.
So you've done a ton of different roles here. What's your favorite truck you've driven with PTI?
Oh well, we all had Freightliners, Kenworths, and Volvo, and hands down, I take the Volvo. I love the Volvo. The ride, you cannot beat the ride in a Volvo, versus a Kenworth and a Freightliner. I don't know, their suspension's a little bit different or what, but the seat's nicer, the ride is more comfortable, even in their day cabs, because I drive the Freightliner and the Kenworth here, and those are pretty, they're nice, but they're rough. I drove the Volvo day cab, and again, by far, can't touch it. The ride is just awesome. Doesn't beat you up.
That's cool. Quick plug at PTI here. We have Freightliners, Kenworths, Volvos, and Navstars we're running now. So all different kinds of trucks for depending on what you like. All right, same top here, trucks. All right, you get to build your own truck. It gets to look however you want it to look. Cost is no object.
Oh, awesome.
All right, what's that truck look like?
Well, it would look like by a Peterbilt 379, because those looks on those showcase trucks that you see here and there, I mean, it's just mean, it's nasty, it's sexy, it's awesome, Give me like a 600 horsepower Cummins engine in it, that would be awesome. The only thing, I drove Peterbilts. The room inside is where you sacrifice. It looks cool, it's like a cockpit, but you wish you had more room to be. So if I could widen that up, and where I got my fridge, nice full size fridge almost, that would be awesome. Set it up that way. So, but and also I'm old school. Has to be a stick. Give me a stick, man. I love my automatics, and that's cool because it really helps out, especially the people coming into the business where they're not, concentrating on hitting those gears and that, and they can really focus on what they need to focus on. So I like the way it's going, but I'm still old school. I love my stick, and I do miss that.
PTI red?
PTI red, yeah.
Good choice. Awesome. We're gonna edit that out and make you say red if you said something else. Anyway, so that's fine. All right, and then so this podcast, right, is Driver Edition. What drives you? What really drives you as a person? Like, what motivates you? I mean, I'll vouch for Lee. You work a crazy amount of hours ever since I met you. That Minnesota run you talked about. Yeah. I don't think 90% of drivers would have signed up for that, right? You were getting back with. Well, you said 30 minutes, but I remember days it was like more like 11. It was close every day. Like, you've worked so many hours, like, and you continue to do that. Why is that your motivation to work so much and work so hard? What drives you, I guess? Well,
and again, you guys consider it work. I don't even consider this work. When I drive, I have fun. It don't even feel like work to me, And working, up to 70 hours, we did that over the road. And all my jobs since back days from retail, I've been putting 70, 80 hours in. When I was a kid, I had 2 jobs all my life. In sales, I was 24/7. I put godly number of hours in. So to me, I'm just, conditioned. It doesn't feel, you say 70, it feels like 50 to me. It feels like 45. But, it's not hard labor or anything. It's a job that you enjoy, so you don't even think about it. And to me, it's just easy money. How the system works, and you can work the system just like a business. It becomes very lucrative and very profitable, you know, where you can really make a hell of a career out of this once you know what you're doing and, you know, tweak things. So it's a win-win. And my wife likes the paychecks too. So that kind of helps, you know.
All right, your wife, your family, right?
Yeah.
What do you do with all this money? What's something you got looking forward to? All your hard work, right? What's something that you really look forward to doing, spending time with them?
Well, we always take a family vacation, try to. Like the last 2 years, we went to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, spend a week out there in the mountains, rented four-wheelers, just did a little zip lining through the mountains, which is pretty awesome. My daughter, before that, she was in AAU basketball, so we traveled a lot and got into that. That was a lot of fun, but that costs a lot of money too. When these kids are starting to play sports and that, you're not thinking nothing of it. And, you know, they're pretty good on it. You know, I mean, she wasn't the all-star, but she was good, you know, and so, but when they want to enter those things, that, you know, it gets pretty pricey to do it, you know. Like a guy yourself, I know that you have a couple kids.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, my kids were spaced out, so I didn't have too much of a cost besides one kid, but I can imagine now trying to have a bunch of kids in that kind of age bracket and try to help them live their dreams, you know. So, but it's fun as a parent, just watching your kids succeed. Sports is great because, you know, let your kids fail. If they fail at something, let them fail, you know. Let them figure it out how to get better. Don't go there and suck up to the coach and that. You know, those are life lessons, you know. So, you know, it was a easy choice when it comes to that kind of stuff.
All right. Well, thank you very much for being our first guest here. Really appreciate it. Thanks for being the guinea pig. And if anyone's interested in any of the jobs we described, which maybe you're not after you describe them, go to our website, driveforpti.com, and check them out. Thank you.